G'day guys, my name's Ben and you're watching The Long Gun Project. G'day guys, welcome back to another episode of The Long Gun Project. Now, in this episode, thanks to my sponsors Wedgetail Industries, I had the unique opportunity to go and visit Lithgow Arms factory in Lithgow. So when Wedgetail Industries arranged for me to visit Lithgow Arms factory, I was really excited. I had the opportunity to meet the men and women who design, manufacture and test these firearms. So I hope you enjoy this video as we tour Australia's largest and oldest firearms manufacturer. In this episode, we're lucky enough to be in Lithgow at the Lithgow Small Arms factory, where Australia produces some of the best firearms in the world. Now we're going to go inside, we're going to see the facilities, but more importantly we're going to meet the people that make all of this possible. We were met by Peter and Paul, who signed us in and then took us straight to the gun room. Now this place is awesome and it got us really excited to see what the production side of things looked like. But the room itself is amazing. It's like the 3D version of Lithgow Arms' greatest hits. After a quick look through the gun room, it was straight out and onto the production line. First stop is metrology. These guys check all of the materials coming in, as well as all of the items going out. They check that all the tools are at specification, and they regulate and check all instruments that are used in quality control across all parts of production. This is done on a rotational basis to ensure that no tools or instruments fall out of specification. Next, we head downstairs to the production line. We meet Kevin, who takes us through the barrel making. The barrel blanks are drilled and machined before moving on to the next stage. The barrel blanks then go to a robot nicknamed Harvey, who hones the inside of the barrel blank until it is smoother than glass. Kevin explained that the tolerance that they're working to is 0.6 microns. Now to put that into perspective, the hair on your head is about 75 microns in diameter. The blanks are placed in the cold hammer forge to have the rifling forged into them over the mandrel. The barrels come out of the forge and then go off for further machining and hardening. We then go further down the production line to see the complex machining that goes into making each of the actions. And honestly, these actions are a work of art. Following this, the barrels and actions are assembled and are finished in-house in Cerakote. They're then laser engraved and mated with a stock and a trigger. Last but not least, every single rifle is then test fired and the results are recorded. Part of this process is a proof firing. Lithgow proofs their rifles to international standards and all their rifles carry the factory proof marking. I then got to sit down and talk with members of the design and product line team and ask them some questions about Lithgow Arms products.
I'm a design manager here at Lithgow. I look after a small team of designers and engineers. I mean, fundamental engineering principles, reducing clearances, controlling tolerances, and surface finishes. They're the primary things. But specifically for say 102 or 105, it's the manufacture of the barrel. It's keeping the tolerances and the sizes to absolute minimum.
Future direction for Lithgow Arms, there's a lot to unpack there. So you're right, the long range thing is going places fast. So the long range potential that we're seeing from new cartridges is really unmatched in previous stuff, right? So 300 Win Mag is, probably challenged in long range shooting, so maybe not a direction we would go specifically for a long range target rifle. But if we look at companies like Hornady in particular and where they're going with their cartridge design, there's probably some hints there as well. So in terms of long action specifically, so the LA102 was always designed with long action cartridges in mind, and without giving anything away, we're down that path at the moment. In terms of the LA105, certainly it's based on the LA102 receiver. It can accept long action, and the bolt size was always developed with those cartridges in mind. If I had to provide any serious hints or direction about where we're going with the products, we will look at a longer, heavier receiver with some different internal geometry and some bedding features for Magnum length cartridges. So for Magnum cartridges, we'll use a different receiver.
Yep.
There's a bunch of reasons for that, and the primary reason is that the engineers tell us, for good reason, that we would be best to use a larger, stronger receiver with different locking arrangements than the LA102 based receiver that we're currently using. The LA102 and the LA105, when you look at those two models side by side, there's an obvious omission here, and it's the sport weight or the lightweight or the mountain weight rifle. So I think it would be a fair guess to think that we're working on something like that in the background.
Yeah. Sitting here in this in the gun room is a pretty cool place to be able to have the chance to talk to you both. So thank you again for the time and the opportunity to come and visit you and all the guys and girls down on the production line as well. So it's been fantastic. So from myself, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Next, it was up to the range to speak to Richard and his team to talk about research, development and testing. Okay guys, we are now finished down in the factory. We've come up to the testing facility and the range.
Hey!
Shit,
What are you doing?
Shit. Now that we're finished down in the factory, we've come up to the range testing facility, and this is the building which all the testing and data is collected, and the amount of information and the cool stuff that is in there just has to be seen to be believed. And it's honestly, it's so cool, I can't actually let you inside. Speaking with Richard and his team about the level of testing and development that goes into Lithgow Arms rifles was really eye-opening.
So we have design loops, so we have design, testing, evaluation, where Jason will come up with some ideas and we'll concept them against, design, test them against other rifles.
Yep.
And then that'll feed into a design acceptance rifle, which is still hand built.
Yep.
Trying to find out where the strengths and weaknesses of the designer. We'll do some larger scale testing of that, and once it's like 90% finalised, we'll make a second or a third and try to get some more data on that gun. And then by that time they're already starting to finish and sit on data packs, make production acceptance test lot rifles. So the first 20 rifles will have anywhere, look at LA101, the 22, because it was our first large sample size, so 20 of the first rifles off the machines were brought here, and we did endurance testing, accuracy testing on those, which is quite expensive. With 101 and ripfire, it's inexpensive until you sort of go to centre fire, and you're looking at dollars per round.
Yes,
not cents per round.
Yep.
And the sample sizes, I think we were still 6 to 8 rifles in breadth, and then still thousands of rounds in depth.
Yeah.
And then still doing the accuracy sampling to understand where the barrel's at and how much life the barrel's got in it.
Yeah.
And that gave the the BD guys the confidence to put that minute of angle guarantee and then the robustness warranties on the rifles as well.
And we also had a chance to get behind the LA 105s and put some rounds down range. The endurance and accuracy testing that was carried out on the LA 102 was extremely interesting. Richard and his team fired an enormous number of rounds through the LA 102 rifles that were used in testing, and at the conclusion of these tests, all the rifles still shot well under 1 minute of angle. How many rounds were fired, you ask? Well, all I'm allowed to say is that it's more than double what you'd expect from a standard factory rifle or aftermarket barrel maker.
It's actually got better. I wonder if there's a correlation between sledging and getting better.
Works for me.
Clearly, I know.
Really.
If my experience at PRS has got
about-
anything to do with it, yes. Sledging definitely makes you a better shooter.
It does.
Well guys, that concludes our tour of the Lithgow Arms factory. I really hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. I would like to say an enormous thank you to the entire team at Lithgow Arms factory. Guys, you do an amazing job and you produce a world-class product. At a time when we're so acutely aware of a lot of Australian manufacturing having been shifted overseas, I'm really proud that such a fantastic product is still being manufactured right here in Australia. And of course, I'm very excited to see what Lithgow Arms is going to be releasing in the near future. And last of all, but definitely not least, I'd like to thank Alex at Wedgetail Industries and the key staff at Lithgow Arms for making this visit possible. Well guys, that concludes this episode of The Long Gun Project. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, please don't forget to hit like, share the video, and also subscribe with notifications so that you can see each new video as it comes out. Guys, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all again on the next episode of The Long Gun Project. See you later.